Pasha Paroh. Thank you for tuning. We're getting into it. Today's topic: what is it? What is it? Let's get it on screen here. Real ain't true. Real ain't true. All right. So, Pasha, what are you talking about? You always bringing something crazy. We're talking about the truth never needed a title, right? Real is rented. Real is rented. Truth is owned. So, what we gonna do in America? Can't say what the United States is gonna be doing, but what we gonna do in America is we're gonna stop performing, if you haven't already, and start owning. Okay, let's take a look at the situation here. All right, we're looking at maybe you don't know what this is. Let me show you what this is real quick. Let me not assume everybody's at different points and places in their life of value, but this is the Black's Law Dictionary. So this is truth. All right, not emotion. I'm not gonna get on here and talk about feelings and this, that, and the other, because at the end of the day, right, real ain't true. All right, let's get to it. So let's take a look at what real is. All right, real, and I know this is going to talk about in relating to land. All right, so in common law, real is relating to land as distinguished. Right, we're going to break this all the way down 100,000 to the milligram. So relating to land as distinguished from personal property, right? This term is applied to lands, treatments, and hereditaments. You know what I mean? You let me know how you break that word down, right? Syllable wise. That's in common law. And in civil law, it's relating to a thing. Now, what's important here is the opening word. This is where, when people aren't focused on comprehension, they're just focused on reading. So what's happening is the word relating means to relate to something, right? Which means it's not the actual thing itself. Does that make sense? If you're relating to something, it's because you're not actually that. It's like the ISH on the end of the word. Like when people were speaking about Moorish and everything, right? Not being a real, not being a true Moor is Moorish, right? Being like. When you say something is blackish, it means it's not really black, but it's like black, right? All right. So it's only real until you ask for the receipts, like a lot of your friendships, like a lot of your relationships, like a lot of your job titles. Okay. So everybody says they keep it real. But what we're going to talk about here is, what if we discover today, what if it's proven today to you as a first impression for some of you, that real doesn't mean what you think real means. It means real-ish. Like land, you don't actually own it. Or relationships, the ones built on borrowed energy. All right, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So what I want to start off with here is we're going to break down what real means, right? And I know it sounds like we just did it, but let's really get into it, okay? And for that, let I'm going to go to my notes because what started this, like those that know me know, I'm like, yo, I really enjoy, you know, getting paid to learn, right? So instead of paying to learn, which is what a lot of people do, they pay to learn something so that they can say, oh, so and so said I know this or can do this, right? Because they didn't have the confidence, in themselves to say I can, right? Or I believe they believe in themselves at the time. Okay. So we're gonna break it down, the illusion of realness in both language and law. So we covered the real being ish, looks like, acts like, but ain't. We recovered the real in law, a good example was land, in respect to the land where it's the land itself. It's in respect to the land, right? But it's not the actual land. So let's look at how we got to that, right? So I was working on a project for and with a, let's say, it's centered around real estate, right? And I got another interesting opportunity in real estate coming up. So I was doing some research and I started, doing Pasha, getting to the truth of it all so we can break it down. And what I found was very interesting because when I put my, see, a lot of people talk about, anyway, I actually have documentation of my status. I can't speak for everybody else that's sounding similar. I don't know what they did in real life. I don't know what they did in their real life, right? But what's true is I have documentation of my status. So I'm not just running around saying, I'm American, not a United States citizen, right? This is why certain things are true and some things are not, right? So a lot of people have emotional beliefs or attachments, but we're going to separate from those as we grow in America. All right. So let's get to it. So basically, in respect to the land, right? Let me get this back up here. Let me get the word back up here for you. The word. All right. So, people that's never done this before, they always got something to say. They always trying to tell you how it should be done because they don't know what they don't know. So, that's real, right? Because real ain't true. So when they be running their mouths, just tell them shut the fuck up or like do what you got to do because they don't know enough. They could take the time to learn something, but they would rather be real instead of be true. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break it down. So I'm going to leave the definition on the screen here, and I'm going to go through the steps of how I break it down for you. So, in respect to the land, which I interpret as relating to, but not the land itself, as comparison to completed externally through a circuit, right? So you can't have conversation about real without connecting to something outside of yourself in comparison, right? So that's real, okay? So once you actually identify that part of the process, we can continue and see that the word relate actually means to tell, right? All the snitches out there, they love being real because they always trying to tell you how real they are. Why? Because it's basically snitching, right? On fake shit. So the word relate means to tell, refer, or report as a verb in 1530. Yet was originally a noun in 1378. So the true meaning of relate is connection and correspondence. Now apply to in respect to land, and it becomes in connection to land and or in correspondence to land. Thus, this proves real is not the actual land. So when you look at the word real estate, right, which we're going to get to in a second, real, the real part is meaning in connection to the land or in correspondence to the land, which means that the realness is not actually the land itself. Does that make sense? So when people be like, get off my land, it's like you don't own the land. You own this little paper that says, we think you should be able to say that you can do A, B, C, and D list of things, which is different depending on your actual ownership status, right? We're going to get to that in a moment too. So that's not actually true, right? And all these little people thinking they know what they're talking about, and it's unfortunate because they're acting a certain way when in reality it's all for naught, right? So we know the truth sends people running. So let's continue. So personal property actually is what you can carry, right? So a lot of people think about personal property, and this is why a mobile home can actually be called, or is actually often referred to as personal property, versus real being something that's connected to the land and the application of real estate. Okay. So now, personal property is appertaining to the person or belonging to the individual. So, what does the phrase as distinguished from personal property imply in the original definition? All right, which was for real in common law, it was relating to land, comma, as distinguished from personal property, right? So what it's saying there is, in the context of the 1933 Black's Law Dictionary, third edition, the phrase as distinguished from personal property could be simplified and explained as follows. It's different from what belongs to a person or an individual. So does this mean right there, right? You cannot own land, you're only trading the interest, right? So if you look that up in Google, Google seems to agree with this statement. In real estate, ownership is not always absolute. While you can own land, you often only own certain rights or interests in the land rather than the land itself. These interests can be bought, sold, or transferred, giving you control over specific aspects of the property, such as the right to use it, build on it, or derive income from it. And I was struck by that when I got to that point in my research, because when I filed my paperwork, I knew that it needed to be filed under real estate, because what we're dealing with is the issue of who owns the property of my physical body. What a lot of United States citizens could enjoy reading up on is that when you actually claim your United States citizen status in various different ways, whether you want to check mark boxes that says you're LGBTQ whatever, or you want to check this box that says your nationality is black, and there's no country there's no nation on the map that says the nation of black. When you check these boxes and you don't understand that you're making a claim that you are something that basically makes you a category of property of the United States, you have to rescind that contract. So when you actually are filing the paperwork, it goes under real estate, because it's talking about terms of property, real, right? But not the actual, because when you get up, your body goes with you until death. When your soul get up, rises up out the motherfucker, right? So now, when they sent it back, though, they sent it back categorized under real estate miscellaneous. They corrected it for me, and that's how I knew back then that it was done properly, right? Because I put it as real estate, but they sent it back as real estate miscellaneous. So this is why, because we're talking about real property, right? So it's very interesting. Um, it's very interesting when you know it from that perspective. So where are we at here? So ownership. Um, yeah, the term personal property refers to things that are movable and belong to the individual, such as their clothes, tools, money. It is the property that is appertaining, is the word they use, to the person, something they own and can carry and use. So when we say as distinguished from personal property, we're talking about something different from or outside of personal property, things that are not movable and is typically fixed or attached to the land, such as a house, piece of land, of course, a building like a shed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This type of property is often called real property or real estate. Then finally, the word estate comes into play, which is the actual interest anyone has on the land or any other subject of property, right? So, as far as the word interest go, the section of the Black's Law Dictionary best resolves it by saying the terms interest and title. Now, here's where it tells you, for anybody that has any questions, and I know you're like, if you don't know yet because you're not cool with you don't comprehend the words, this is what part you need to pay attention to. This is as simple as it gets. All right. Here's the word estate. So what it's talking about is the terms interest and title are not synonymous. The mortgagor in possession and a purchaser holding under a deed effectively executed have both of them absolute as well as insurable interests in the property, though neither of them have or has the legal title, which someone referred to in conversation as fee simple, right? So for example, if you own a piece of land with a fence, the land and the fence are real property because they're part of the land. If you have a wagon sitting on that land, the wagon is personal property because you can take it with you and move it somewhere else, right? So it's really fascinating because, like I said, the paperwork for status came back as real estate miscellaneous. All right. Now let's get into the meat of this exhibit here. Okay. So title interest, just like how someone might have your attention, but not your heart. To recap. So we got the respect to the land itself, right? That's real. Estate is the interest, not the ownership, right? So just like how I said, someone might have your attention, but not your heart. That's what real is. So show real property is just interest. It's not the actual ownership. It's why your girl want to call you they man. It's why Pasha don't do titles. It's an emotional echo, right? People act real, but only relate to the realness. They never actually, in many cases, embody it, and it being the truth, right? They want the variables of it. They want that 20%, they want that 80% without the 20, right? So long story short, the clothes on the land will refer back to it, but you don't own land, just like many people don't own their truth. You just lease it. until it gets uncomfortable. And then you try to sell your rights. So real ain't ownership. It's just access until the illusion expires. Right? So they sold you real. I'm giving you the truth. Right? So run away, bride, right? Because people run from the truth. So let's take America to no more realists, just real ones, right? Just not even real ones anymore. Let's just get to the truth, because real got too much confusion with it, and I know you're tired of that. Okay, so let's look at some real life exhibits. Like, let me pull this up on the screen here. Um, here, here a throwback of one of the little wheels I used to little push around, nothing major, little 2014 E350 coupe, right? Zoom, 300 plus horsepower. I used to keep it over about 20 all the time. So what you gotta look at when you see these cars nowadays, whether it's the Mercedes or the BMW, is you bought the drive, not the car. Cause see, this is really what they're selling you. They're not selling you the car anymore. They're selling you the driver experience. It's a leased feeling wrapped in metal. See, over 70% of the high-end vehicle buyers lease rather than own, because, well, modern luxury vehicles are loaded with proprietary tech that locks out do-it-yourself repairs. BMW charges a subscription fee for heated seats because they're not selling you a car anymore. They're selling you an experience, right? And if you don't bought a video game in the last 5 or 10 years, you know, you buy the game and you can purchase upgrades for the game in the game. So it's just like some of y'all think you bought a car, which is really insane, because if you have it financed, most of people stop saying you bought something if you financed it. Like, let's start there. Let's start with the truth, because once we establish the truth, we can stop with the real feelings, the fake shit. Like, you talking about your car this, your car that, and you still making payments on it. It ain't yours yet. It's like your house. Like, you feel like your nose up in the air. You think you better than somebody because you got a little 2-bedroom that, you know, you paid $500,000 for, and you got to deal with your spouse, you know, that you don't want to be with, but you want the convenience of being able to make that mortgage payment or that rent payment every month. Or, you know, you be out on the block, right? So you're looking for the experience. You're paying for the experience of the illusion of saying, look at what we have, when you don't own nothing, right? So Mercedes pushes connected services. Your car becomes a monthly app plan, right? You didn't buy the car. You licensed the illusion of control. Look at John Deere, for example. The farmer's outraged because y'all know what we do here. This is personal coaching. This is business coaching. I'm gonna show you how I built this channel on etymology, because etymology is what allowed me to win court cases, but most people don't even understand what the words mean. So this is knowledge. So share the truth, unless you just want to keep it real. All right. So look at John Deere. Builds durable machines for hardworking landowners. There go that word again, right? Because remember, you can profit from it under your secured rights, but you actually don't own it. Which is, look at out west when they had the situations come up about the water rights, because they were announcing how, despite the aquifers being underneath maybe your house, you didn't own the rights to the water, and you couldn't put a well on your own, what you thought was your property, and tap the water so you could stop buying water from the grocery store. It was illegal for you to build a well on your own land. because you didn't own the rights to the water underneath your house. Someone else did. But you don't understand why it's so important that we come together and take this stand for America now, because you just comfortable. You're just comfortable, and you naive, right? So their software locks down to repair access. John Deere, this is. Their software locks down repair access. Even if you paid in full, you can't fix your own tractor without violating their digital rights agreement. Why? Because they're not selling you the actual physical nuts and bolts of the tractor. They're selling you the experience. Farmers have sued for the right to repair because John Deere holds the keys, not the farmers. You're on the land, but the machine helping you work it still belongs to someone else, right? So let's look at Bentley, right? Bentley sells the Prestige and it has a shelf life. Okay. So the illusion, Bentley makes timeless machines for timeless success. Okay. The truth is, Bentley doesn't design for long-term durability, only for that first high net buyer. Used Bentleys, even just 3 to 4 years old, frequently suffer expensive failures, and many owners report no support or concern from Bentley once it's a secondhand problem. You weren't buying luxury, you were borrowing status. Another example is Apple. The realness is in the restriction. The illusion is that Apple sells innovation and freedom to create. The truth is, Apple's devices are purposefully engineered for non-repairability. So the Genius Bar dependency is part of the business model. See, they slowed down the older phones with software updates to encourage new purchases without telling customers. So real innovation wouldn't disable itself when you stop upgrading. All right. So look at Airbnb. Living like a local. Airbnb lets you live like a local and experience real culture, quote unquote. The truth is, many listings are run by corporate hosts, not locals. So neighborhoods are being displaced by temporary guests, and what's sold as quote unquote authentic, which is really what real means, is a scripted performance optimized for Instagram. So you're not in the neighborhood, you're in an Instagram filter, which brings us to Instagram culture. Real is a filter. See, don't get mad because of what they're posting, talking about, oh, they're faking it, or no, they had a real photo shoot. See? And they put their real pictures up on Instagram of their real life, which is not actually the truth, right? So the truth is Instagram might, in most cases, be heavily curated highlights, filters, fake flexes, and borrowed backdrops, right? The most quote unquote authentic influencers follow brand scripts, more tightly than your actors in a movie. Real is rented. Truth doesn't need editing. Like, look at your podcast talking about they're gonna film the podcast and then they edited it and put a video out. Just go live. Oh, they can't go live because that's true, right? They want to be real, so they gotta edit it. Just like your relationships, a lot of your relationships are edited. You know, you come home, you don't say what you really want to say right away because you need to edit it because you're trying to maintain the convenience of paying the mortgage. So you can't even be true to the people you sleep with. That's why you got to keep it real. So, real ish love is performance of the illusion, right? He, she, your person. We solid, 100, right? Hearts, all this shit. But the truth is, many are committed to the benefit, not the bond. They love the title, not the truth behind it. That's why, it's many reasons why Pasha don't do titles. You fuck with Pasha, you either gonna be there tomorrow or you're not. What you do today is gonna help me determine if I request you tomorrow. Because I don't want the toxicity of a commitment for the convenience of a title. You either be true or you be gone. So they stay until discomfort calls for evolution, then they ghost you. People say real as long as the mirror stays soft, right? So go back to this all. In law, real in a relationship, right? And in life, it means just enough to fool you. That's why you're looking at these people like, oh, did you hear so-and-so getting a divorce? And they've been together so long because they were never real to begin. I mean, never true to begin with. It was real. It was real comfortable. It was real convenience. It was real luxurious until they lost their job. It was this. It's always something until that's not unconditional. Love is you're supposed to be, unconditional, right? But all y'all know, you don't know what real is, so you're confused, right? Like a lot of people talk about things in life that they never look at. A lot of artists, they never done what they talk about in music. Look at your branding coach. Is your business coaches are trying to coach you through some shit that they never been through in their life and don't even understand, but they telling you what to do. Like, that's real. But Pasha's true. There's a difference. So look at the fire examples like the rented emotions, the influencer spirituality, the fake equity in business deals. How far you want to go with this, right? We need to learn to highlight the human contradiction and use language properly to describe it, or else the United States is going to continue to fall off the cliff dive that it's on. So we are offering America as an alternative for all of you that's been trapped in the United States mentality for too long now. Personal property belongs to you. Real property is something else you relate to. That's my person versus that's someone I'm vibing with. How many chicks y'all talking to that got a photo with me that's telling you they my girl? I ain't had a girlfriend since high school. And my girlfriend in high school couldn't go to prom with me because I was 17 and she was 23. Working on an ambulance as an EMT. So she went with me. We picked out what I was gonna wear, and she did her woman part for her man, for her king, for her god at the time. And I went to prom with someone else that would be more appropriate for me to show up with. It's a reason why I'm just like, I'm bored with what y'all been waiting your whole life for. I spent most of my life being 10 years ahead of everybody I know. It's not fun. So all I have left to do is just to change the world. That's the only thing that excites me anymore, because everything else was done like 20 years ago. I had 5 chicks at one time, and they all knew about each other. I could be at homegirl's crib, call up my other chick, have her come pick me up, leave my car parked at her crib, go with the other chick for the weekend, come back. That's how I roll. So when people be talking about cheating, what is cheating? Why do you who cheats? I thought we were adults. Women want the truth. And when you can tap on the back of that ass for 4 hours straight and still not, they just want the truth. You good. Anything you want to do after that, you good. Because they gonna be tired. They can't say nothing. You still need to go finish. You ain't even finished 4 hours. They I be bored. What you gonna do? I'm 338 pounds. I need a couple women. I need a few women. Because most women can't bench press 340 for too long. So you need a team. Right? Now, when it comes to business, you need a team to hold you down. Some chicks don't like to talk, so you might need one chick that enjoys being a therapist. You need to learn what true is instead of focusing on what real is. And a lot of y'all relationships, whether it's business, personal, whatever, would be so much more satisfying if only you told the truth instead of trying to be real. That's my person versus that's someone I'm vibing with. She got a picture with me from 5 years ago, show you talking about, oh, yeah, I know all, and you don't know shit. You believe in anything because you saw him with a picture with me. That's how y'all roll, because y'all real, right? So relationships built on interest, just like the real estate. We're in a time where people will sell you a feeling they can't even keep for themselves. Every song I write is true. It's from personal lived experience. It's what I'm going through. It's what I'm doing. It ain't make believe. I don't need a photo shoot. I go outside on the block. I take a picture. That's my photo shoot. That's what I'm doing right now at this moment. That's real. That's true. I didn't go spend $400 on the outfit, right? I didn't go get the fake backdrops and the white backdrop. I didn't do none of that. I spent 13 years as a photographer. That's why I left photography, because it's not real. I'm making them look good. I'm tweaking the photos. I'm cleaning up the images because that's real. Excuse me, it is real. It's not true though. When you meet me, you're gonna see me in the same clothes that you see me with online. You're gonna see me in that same stuff on the block. You're gonna see me on that same stuff on the train. When I pulled up in the drop, you saw me in the same t-shirt. When I pull up in the E350 coupe, you saw me still with the bulletproof vest on. All right? And you saw me with the AR-15 pistol. All right? I don't fake shit. So what we want to do is we want to look at how real in relationships, right? Self-image, business is often just an association, not ownership though. Just like the real property isn't truly yours, it's rented. And most personal connections aren't personal at all. Can y'all got that grasp so far? I'm gonna give you another picture here, right? Because what we were just talking about, the love life. There you go. There you go. Look at that. So personal property, again, belongs to the individual. Real property attached to something else, the land, but not you. External connection, while personal is internal possessions. If it's yours, it moves with you, right? Think about that. If it's yours, it moves with you. So stop trying to be out here talking about that's my man, that's my girl. Because when you got up and went to work, she ain't go with you. He ain't go with you. See, I'm building something where when you come connect with Pasha, you ain't gotta go to work because we're gonna be working on America together. And when you do that, because what a lot of look, check this out, right? This is how simple it is. The reason why y'all relationships don't work is because you don't realize that you're secretly in competition with each other. What I mean, okay, do this trial randomly at your own leisure. Ask your significant other if y'all can go do ... this weekend on Saturday. And how does that conversation most likely go? Well, let me see what I gotta do, or do it during a weekday when people gotta work, right? Let's do it like that. So I want to go do this on Thursday. Well, I got work and this, that, right? Or let me see if it's in the evening time, then we can do it about this time because I got to do A, B, C, and D before. It's always because that's the competitive factor, because they got to compare weigh and value if they can do this or if they need to do something else, because if you're a doctor and your significant other is a manager at McDonald's, your careers are going in separate directions. They're not related to each other, right? Now go back to the word respect that you always hear me use. The etymology of the word respect means to relate. So if your careers aren't related to each other, then you're constantly disrespecting your partner. And then it becomes a competition of who's going to make the best argument to justify why their realness or relationships, right, external, is more important and should control and dominate the itinerary or the calendar of what you want to do. So y'all in competition with each other. Now, when you say we're going to work on this together, that's when you are allowed by life to actually bond and become inseparable, because you guys can determine we're going to wake up tomorrow at this time or whatever we get up, and then we got this to do, we got that to do. It's we got this to do, not I got to go to work. See, we got to do this for the business. We got to do this for the nonprofit. We got to do this for the block, not I. See, because I go to work for them. Who's them? Them ain't we. So now, is we more important than you in your relationship? That's competition. And that's fucking y'all up. But we're gonna give you the option to stop being United States and join America, where you can be true instead of being real. Okay? Choice is yours. So if it's yours, it moves with you. Now I want you, if you're at work, just look to your side right now and let me know, is your significant other with you? Then they ain't yours. And that's the problem with the title, because the title is simply there to show possession or ownership of. And I tell them all, when I sit them down on the day one, I'm like, look, I don't do titles. And they be like, oh my God, why don't you want to get married? Well, first of all, marriage is a whole different conversation, because the contract in your marriage ain't between you and the spouse. It's between you and the government and your spouse and the government about how y'all supposed to treat each other. But it ain't got nothing to do with that. It ain't got nothing to do with y'all being together. But most people don't know that. But the title implies possession or ownership, which when you look at you, who can possess you? Well, that's now we talking slavery, or we talking like spiritual possession, where you're being possessed by an entity, a spirit, whatever you want to call it. So how you feel about either one of those are the only forks in the road that a title delivers you to. That's why you sitting up here talking about, I'm so glad for girls' night because I got out the house. I got time away. Well, if you were with somebody that you actually enjoy, you wouldn't need time away because y'all be busy working on the products and the fruits of y'all labor together, and it wouldn't be, you know, because it said I think the marriage vows say what till death do us part, not free Ciroc before 11. Not all you can drink mimosas, right? But y'all want to be so real, and that's why I stay so far away. So if it's yours, it moves with you. The Boy Scout said if you can't pick it up and carry it and take it with you, it don't really exist in our discipline. We learned that illusion before high school. So if it's yours, it moves with you. If it's just real, it stays where the illusion was built. What's real world examples to prove this illusion here? Right? Conditional love is just real-ish. The person loves me for me. The truth is, many lovers are loyal to how you make them feel, not who you really are, which is the same problem a lot of your business owners run into. People only remember how you make them feel. You can have the realest product in the world, the truest product in the world. You can have the most true solutions, but they're gonna be like, you know what? I really didn't like how he made me feel. Well, you carry your ass back over there to real love, right? And we're gonna enjoy this driving experience without you. We're gonna enjoy growing produce from the land, whether you enjoy John Deere or not, right? So when you stop performing, they start ghosting. Oh, you changed. This is why I tell you, I remember the most realest thing I heard on track was on it was Cameron, right? It was that I don't even know the track but look, when it came on, whatever it was, it went like this. It said, yeah, when I meet her, I just smack the shit out of her. They said, why you do that? He said, because that way, later on, they can't go, but Cam, you don't treat me how you used to, right? Because that's what they gonna remember. That's where you get all the sayings. If you meet them at the club, how you meet them, they gonna leave you. You know what I'm saying? How you meet them, they gonna leave you because that's the truth of who they are and what they do. What they do with you after that is them being real. I'm gonna tell you when I was just like, I don't give a fuck no more with chicks. And the afterthought. Cause I was always, I'm the, I ain't, when you the shit, you ain't gotta really like be like, oh my God, I'm the shit, and tell people. You just are what you are, right? So I remember my life goes like this, man. I had a chick one time, I knocked down, and she hit me like, look, I need 2 months. I'm like, 2 months for what? What you talking about? She's like, I need 2 months. Now, mind you, I'm young then because I was doing my thing like before, Anyway, so she's like, I need 2 months. And I'm like, 2 months for what? She's like, I need 2 months. I'm going to move my husband into an apartment so you can come stay with me as long as you want. And I was like, all right, let's see how this play out. And like 6, 7 weeks later, she's like, yo, it's, all right, he gone. I got him a place down such. And that's where he gonna be at until, I get this divorce. And I'm like, But I went into that situation knowing, I'm not gonna be the next one you move into the apartment though. You know what I'm saying? Like we can do this thing, I'm doing my thing, but you're not gonna move me into the apartment. Right? Like my life, I don't act maybe the way a lot of people. I don't act first of all, but it's just because I've lived a lot of different life than a lot of the people I talk to, so I don't expect them to relate. You know what I mean? Like, I remember being in my 20s and my chick could go pull $250,000 out the bank if she wanted to. Like I'm not used to thinking a certain way. You know what I mean? When I told a chick, I can't come. I'm not coming over this weekend. I'm about this bread right now. It was, I got 1,000 if I can see you. It's here go 5 G's. I need you to come through. So, that taught me a lot. I know I'm the man, but when you get to 65, you may have built a whole life with someone who now you're not who they met, right? And it ain't their fault or your fault, but they still want what they want, which you ain't that no more, right? You're not what they remember meeting. So how you keep it fresh, how you keep it, you just gotta focus on being true. So when you hear, my music, I'm talking about real shit, true shit. I'm not talking about real shit. That's why it may sound so foreign to y'all, because you never experienced it yet. So when people stop performing, they start ghosting. People date your benefits but never own the bond, right? They loved your value but not your vulnerability. It's kind of like social media sometimes. You got all these followers until you speak the truth. Like when I kept it real, my social media was off the chart. You know what I mean? Because I used to I made different music back in the day, but I had this one song, and it was doing pretty good. And I was battling with the local DJ on Power 99 radio station, Facebook page and stuff. We were going back and forth. And I'm using, just like I do now. Just I wasn't as good back then at the promotion part. And I posted the song. Cause they was talking shit. And I posted my song. Right? It was called Cut It Down. Right? But it was all about loading up, if you know what I mean. Like the whole video was just loading up magazines for 3 minutes. Like I had a lot of, most people that really shoot and know how to shoot keep a lot of ammo. So it was nothing to just keep loading up magazines for 3 minutes straight. Think about how many rounds that is. Like I come from Baby Chirac is what they call Wilmington, Delaware. I just don't carry myself like it because you don't need to. be all extra about shit. Okay. So, but what occurred was I posted a comment, said warning shots, posted my video, and 4 minutes later, state police got killed. And these motherfuckers somehow, I ain't gonna say I don't know who snitched, but public safety showed up at my school, right? And I was like, I don't know what you talking about. I promote music. And it was a Friday. They was like, well, we're gonna come back on Monday and see and something, check on you. So Saturday I was in Charlotte. Last time I tried to go back to Delaware, they actually blew up I-95 bridge. You can check my YNet. Like my life sounds like you're making this shit up, but you can actually check my YNet $7 videos, and I put the video on there when I got back. That's when they blew. Like when I hit the Maryland house, they blew up I-95. All the traffic from I-95. It's not funny, but it's funny. Was now diverted both sides into little ass Delaware. So the traffic going north to south on I-95 was all now on the surface street. You couldn't even move around. It literally, I timed it. It took 45 minutes to get around, to actually go through an intersection and just make a left turn. So if you wonder why Pasha just really just be like, yo, I'm just stay to myself, I don't really, I'm not, it's not that you're a bad person. It's just that I know me. I know me. And in a lot of cases, it's just best that we don't be involved, because I don't like disappointment, which is why I never placed the expectations on y'all to begin with. So don't make promises that you can't keep. Like a lot of y'all relationships started. And your social medias, right? So that's where we're at, social media. So you built it's a real community. It's a real community. See, y'all, the complaints you have, if you think about how y'all feel about social media, about all this fake this and fake book and this, that, and the other, it's not fake, it's real, because real is fake. See, what you actually are desiring is true. And true looks and feels different. So when you've been around real your whole life, and then you come in close proximity to the frequency and vibe of Pasha Paroh, you kind of like, you want to run, because it feels foreign, like something you feel like you're getting cooked in a microwave. And I understand that about myself, so I don't fault or blame you. See, I'm a Virgo. We live in hermit mode. I'm like Kobe. I prefer the ice up. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at social media, the community is a real community, but what you want is truth. But every time you get confronted with the truth, you run. So go enjoy the song by Pasha Paroh called Cold Feet. Every time you get to the truth, you get cold feet, because real is so comfortable. Real is so complacent. You can post what's trending already and get applause, knowing it wasn't your original thoughts. Post something real in silence or unfollows. The most support exist until you step out of their algorithm or comfort zone. So if you think about social media's algorithm, your boyfriend or girlfriend, husband, wife has an algorithm. Step outside the algorithm. You don't have a tribe, you have a temperature. And see, if you vibrate too high like truth, that's why I say you cooking people. Who wants to be cooked? Right? You know you like the beach, but you only sit in the sun for so long. So when your temperature gets too hot, when you rise too high, when you elevate too far, either they leave or they claim that you did. But either way, there's distance. How does that work in business? Because business partnerships are not personal loyalty. That's another illusion. Oh, we're family. We go way back. The truth is, most deals aren't rooted in trust. They're rooted in leverage. Collab culture is often performative until it costs someone something real because they were never true. You were only valuable while you were useful. They weren't your partners. They were placeholders. You got to know your self-worth. And until you learn your self-worth, you're just keeping it real. In America, we're going to start with you valuing yourself. Then you're not after approval. The illusion of I'm being real, I'm showing up. No, you're just dumb. The truth is you edited your story before sharing it. You only cried online once you had the angle. You're performing a quote unquote truth, not living it. You don't want to be seen. You want to be accepted. And y'all talking about selling out to these jobs, to these industries, and you don't even realize how many of you are selling out your own spirituality or soul just in your day-to-day conversations and choices. The illusions of I'm on a healing journey when really people are buying candles, crystals, and chakras with no real practice. These people buying crystals talking about they scared of you because you got tarot cards and they don't even know they connected. They manifestation meme hashtag alignments. You know what I mean? They trying to put sacred symbols as slogans. Right? You bought the incense, but you never inhaled the truth. Right? It's an emotional echo. This is why you hear Pashas discuss with emotional attachments to belief without knowledge of the truth. It's a sickness, it's a disease, it's a disorder, it's gaslighting, it's manipulation. It's why are you addicted? Silence. You ever look around and realize, if you got this far in the video, if you ever look around and realize nothing you call real is actually yours. Your relationship ain't yours. Your car ain't yours. Your house ain't yours. Your job ain't yours. I'm trying to give you an opportunity to realize. This is why you hear me talking about Agenda 2030 and what we got to do as a community before that arrives, because they're basically, I've been telling you, they're putting a date on it, but they've already got everything in place. You don't realize you don't own nothing, and the problem is, the quote from that, for people who don't know what Agenda 2030 is, let me give you the quote. The summary is, "You will own nothing and be happy." But many people don't realize that they don't really own nothing today. They have the illusion, they believe they do, they think they do. But the comma on that quote was "and be happy," which is really, happy comes from the word lucky, right? Joy is what you want to build in life. It's the structural thing. Happy is like going to casino. Like, a lot of y'all are looking for happiness at home because you know it's a random thing. You're going home, you never know what you're gonna get with your significant other. If they had a bad day, a good day, if they feel like talking to me today or not, I don't know. It's a roll of the dice. That's happiness. That's a gamble. Joy is what you build where you know you built this and this is what it is. It's structured. So the dangerous part is not the fact that you won't own anything, because I've been telling y'all you haven't owned nothing your whole life, but you've been believing them and thinking Pasha's crazy. But the danger is, and be happy, because now they're going to turn it into a gamble. See, if we look at our earlier part in life, like we go back 5, 10 years and before, it still was there that you didn't own anything, but at least you kind of could build some stability in the illusion. The part of the phrase that really provides the potential trauma is "and be happy," because that's going to make it a gamble now. So where you felt like you had the security that you had of having a job or doing this, and whatever they structure your life is today, imagine if it was everything that you take for granted in that structure that you think you have. Imagine if every component, every day, you had to go to the casino, to the craps table, and roll the dice to see if you could maintain it. That's happiness. So what's going to change in 2030 is how you think you're supporting yourself and you're building something is now going to become a crapshoot. So if you've ever wondered why Pasha is taking it so serious and branding America and reducing the codependency on big corporations and large government by empowering we the people to create sustainable communities, it's because you don't realize you got less than 5 years until your whole entire life and lifestyle, relationships, job, ownership status, what you drive, where you sleep, is gonna become a crapshoot unless the community pulls together to ensure otherwise. You're dealing with emotional echoes. So personal is possession. Real is performance. And most of what you're calling yours never belonged to you at all. So how then does the fake and the real show up in the business culture and connection, right? Look at real estate professionals. I'm gonna say acting, but I don't want you to think about it as if they're actually like acting. Like, a lot of them don't know the truth. Just like a lot of the police don't know the truth. They just know what they were trained to do when they see you do something that they saw you do. Right? Which is how Pasha Paroh wins court cases for entertainment purposes. The police be like, "You need a driver's license." And I was like, "No, I don't." "Well, we pulled you over because your driver's license was suspended and insurance revoked, and da 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 da." Right? But only drivers need that. You assume I'm a driver for entertainment purposes, but I'm a traveler, and the whole entire National Highway Traffic Safety Act and Title 18, Section 31 does not apply to me for travel. I can do 140 miles an hour down 4th Street as long as I don't hit anything or injure anybody. Because I'm not real. I'm true. So a lot of people don't know, and again, you have to be careful because I can't really blame them at first because I know they don't know no better. They don't know no better. This is why they slide the word minority in front of society, and they start pointing fingers at who they believe the minority is. But in reality, the word minority is childlike mind. So because you haven't grown your mind to a certain point, they're manipulating you because they're calling you the minority, whether you believe you are or not, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know why they're selling you if you got the credit and the funds, finances. You don't know why they're selling you a car that goes 240 miles an hour, and they're gonna say you only can do 45 miles an hour on this road. You don't know why. So you go along, you comply because you don't know why. Come to America. It's an alternative option for you. So when I say acting, just keep in mind they may not be doing this maliciously. They may simply not know any better themselves. And we have to use our communication tools like the $5 billion plus valuation of Facebook to communicate actual value instead of posting pictures of babies and puppies. Soft situations like to go all when they see a baby and a puppy. You know, that's real. You're gonna get likes because it's emotional echoes. But when we start talking about true shit, where'd you go? So real estate professionals are acting like they sell land. In reality, they're selling certain rights. And in business, the quote unquote authenticity is often scripted, right? Like I do marketing and branding. I got sales background. I got all this stuff. They give you a script. Learn the script. Stick to the script, right? We care about people equals market tested tagline. People claiming loyalty but disappear when pressure hits. Influence culture. The person with the mic often isn't the one holding the truth. That's why Pasha's videos may have 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 6,000 views instead of 6 million because you didn't share the video. Because you were uncomfortable with the truth. You were uncomfortable with people knowing you've been exposed to the truth. See, here's the reality. Let me let you in on a little secret. To negativity, right? Positivity appears to be negative. I'll repeat that for you. To negativity, right? To a negative person, positivity appears to be negative. So think about that in your business relationships, in your household situations. It may help you understand and appreciate your disconnects. And again, this is why when you start being genuine, this is why people run, because real isn't true, and true triggers discomfort, insecurity, abandonment, right? How many single mothers out there carry themselves saying the father's not in the kid's life the way it was, like you want them to be. But if people really listen to your true story, the family abandoned the father for comfort or security on a government system or something else, right? How many? I mean, how many would actually show that by show of hands admit to being a single mother because you abandoned the father? But yet you're gonna tell the story to your girls 5 and 10, 20 years later, or to your next dude as the dude left you. He don't come back to see it. Nah, right? How many would actually raise their hand if that was the truth? Nah, very few you would, because being genuine isn't about being liked. It's about being clear. And that clarity, it costs you comfort. It costs you comfort. That's why a lot of y'all, you get to talking to people and you left the relationship and you, ooh, 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 we woo with me. Well, I'm done with that. And then 2 weeks later, you back together. You know how many times I went and like, fought for my sister, and then, what I mean, and then they back together in 2 weeks. Each time you do that, the other person could have a gun. Someone on you saw King Von situation. Someone on their team could have a gun. You come up here, you knocking them out, you kicking indoors, whatever for your family, and then they back together 2 weeks later, and then but you would have been the one in jail. You would have been the one in the casket. And then they be like, oh no, I can't call my brother no more because he don't come through when I need him. No, because like you ain't learned yet. Nah. I'm in Charlotte, you in Delaware, I get a call. Ooh, so and so hit me. I call the locals. But then I thought about it, you know what? Why would I have the locals put at risk when y'all gonna, because I'm not there, when y'all gonna be back together in 2 weeks anyway? But when father died, passed away, and I had to go up to the funeral, I came to the crib because now I'm here. And I sat dude down. And I pulled out the PLR and I took the magazine out. I unloaded the chamber, the 5.56 NATO, and I put the gun in his lap. It's a big gun, it's like 18 inches. It's a pistol that shoots rifle bullets. And I said, if you ever touch my sister again, I'm gonna show you how this works. Are we clear? To my knowledge, we ain't had a problem since. But no, your family will ruin the protection and the security and then blame you for abandonment when they abandoned you because you gave them, you supplying the discipline. So they abandoned you because they didn't want the discipline connected with being true. So yeah, I'm really allergic to people who aren't true because I seen I seen a lot of I've experienced and I've seen a lot of shit that happens when you deal with real people because real ain't true. See, truth is confrontational, even when it's quiet. Being real doesn't mean raising your voice. I'm a fan. Everybody that actually knows me to any degree knows that my motto is anybody that has to raise their voice is not in control. I like to only talk loud enough for the person I'm talking to hear me. I really prefer not to say nothing at all. I feel like we should be telepathic because if you were true, when I put my hand up on your hip and I dip, you dip, we dip, right? I shouldn't have to say shit. But everybody don't come from honor like I do, like we do. So being real doesn't mean raising your voice. It means raising your vibration. And most people don't want to match that frequency. Again, when you stop performing, people start protecting their illusion. Some of y'all aren't in relationships, you're in illusions. You going back to a chick after a breakup, and she only broke up with you so she could spend the weekend with me. I mean, that's how I look at stuff, right? I don't want these chicks. That's why, when dudes be having their girls with them, like I hardly ever talk to their girl. Like I'll talk to the dude right in front of them and not say nothing. It's not disrespect. It's I don't want your chick to get too comfortable speaking with me because I know my past. Past Pasha will have your chick in a travel lodge next week. And I grew past that in life. I'm not interested in that anymore. It doesn't fascinate me like it did back then. And I know she with it. So it ain't even no fun. So when you stop performing, people start protecting their illusions. When you speak with clarity, people hear their confusion louder. This is why they run from you. This is why we all laughed at that joke. Don't you run from me? Because we all know that, right? The truth reflects. And if someone can't handle their own reflection, then they'll run from yours. In the mirror on the wall, right? And so you got, you got to know what truth is to even be able to remotely relate to the music. You know what I mean? When someone, you know what I mean? Like you get a lot of feedback on your music as artists. You know what I'm saying? And songwriters, and it tells you where people are at in comparison to what if you're coming from the perspective like me, where you know embedded truth, and then they ain't ready to handle the truth, or they not in tune with the truth, or they are just real, their response and reaction to your songs tells you exactly where they at in life. You know what I'm saying? Just enjoy the reflections. Okay? Don't take it personal. Remember, they don't know what they don't know, but use the opportunity to learn from them, because they gonna tell you what's real because they don't know what the truth is. You didn't hurt them. You just held up a mirror and they didn't like what they saw. Genuine energy exposes fake comfort. This is why I stay away from y'all. I try to. Most of society. Because I can't be in a presence without them being uncomfortable. Because truth removes escape routes. You either grow or you go. Most people are addicted to ease, not alignment. And being genuine puts pressure on others to level up. And pressure busts egos. So I know y'all addicted to the real, and that's why I be distancing myself, because I grew up ODB. We like it raw. We want it true. We ain't with all that fake shit. Business, that's why our business is doing what it's doing. Whether you hate or not, we taking America to where America was designed to go. We're all gonna die one day. That's the truth. Now, we know the energy, the essence, the spirit, the soul, whatever is the energy that's actually us controlling this avatar is eternal and infinite. But this body gonna go. The question I have for you is, what is it gonna go in progress of? What impact you making? How you gonna work with me, a God, little G-O-D, building a universe, if you worried about maintaining a household? You're gonna be distracted. Your priorities aren't scaled properly. I'm looking for those who want an empire. I got marketing, I got branding, I got songs, I got everything that's broadcasting, I got communications, that's comms, we got situational awareness. I know we can buy whatever. Missiles, tanks, how far you want to go with it. We are not opposed to the United States corporation. We are simply competing for the same market share. That's you. So genuine energy exposes fake comfort. Truth removes escape routes. You either grow or you go. Most people are addicted to ease, not alignment. And being genuine applies hella pressure. And when you show up fully, they show you how empty they really are. So, for most of y'all, I would appreciate a salute, because I left you because I didn't want to continue causing you the pain of being in the presence of truth prior to you being ready for it. You can't handle the truth, the movie said. And if I'm looking at you, knowing that you are minority, meaning childlike mind, if I keep applying the pressure to you, then me knowing the truth, that's child abuse. I can't force you to grow up. I can't force you to want to take accountability for the nation when you worried about 800 square feet. I'm not going to chase you. I didn't even chase my mother. I don't even have a relationship with my mother because she didn't value the truth. What makes you think I'm going to chase you? If you're not true, then go be with the real ones. Because it's not your fault. You don't know what you don't know. And when it's the right time in life for you, you will appreciate the prerequisites that I installed in you as an investment when you had the opportunity of being in my presence. In your relationships, they said they wanted real until it showed up. See, they loved your vulnerability until it asked for accountability. They admired your honesty until it made them look dishonest. You became too much the moment you became too clear. You didn't change. You just stopped hiding. And that exposed them. They exposed themselves trying to expose you because they didn't know, they didn't realize, because they've been so focused on real, they didn't realize you've been true the entire time. That's why in their effort to expose you, it only exposed themselves. In business, real strategy scares performance-only players. Real branding says something specific. Most people want safe and vague, right? For the wrong reasons. I prefer the infinity because it includes everything. I can get precise variables and I can talk to you on the equation level. The issue is which one can you communicate properly with? Because your emotional attachments to beliefs might get in the way. If I give you a variable, you might hone in and focus on that and lose sight of the other variables in the infinity of the equation. If I give you the equation, you might feel overwhelmed and be like, I don't know what you're saying because you're who got time for it? Are you ready? Because if you're not ready, that's cool. We can Bronny James you to the G League. It's all right. But if you're ready, Pasha Paroh is conducting a draft. Send me your resume. Let's talk about your goals and challenges for the future. Let's get you in the attitude for sustainability in the communities pre-2030, which is going to require some of your own investment. I want to invest with you because I got the $1 billion worth of knowledge. Yeah, I went into all these, check my resume. That's why I put it up there for you. While y'all were wanting to get off work to go to your real relationships and go do this real and that real, I was keeping it true. I was there like, tell me everything you know, motherfucker. Like, I come from the block. Tell me everything you know. Nah, put that in the bag too. Put that in the bag too. But you're not an engineer. I said, put it in the bag too. That's how I'm doing engineering work without a degree, right? Because I came to the job for the knowledge, because they spent $1 billion on information. You came to the job for the paycheck so that you can pay a car note on a car that you ain't got no more. Because I'm building a nation and you managing a household. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but don't test me. Because I realize you don't know any better. I just try to stay to myself and keep away from these parts of society, which is the majority, that don't comprehend. Because my own family tried to throw me in the mental hospital. For the experts to say ain't nothing wrong with Pasha, he knows shit that the average people don't know, and he just gotta be careful who he talk to about it because it might offend them. And I said, you know what? Thank you for that truth and letting them know that. I've been telling them that, but you know what? When I get out of here, I'm not walking on eggshells. It was part of what fueled. I contained the rage that most of y'all would have, and I used it as fuel. Like, I grew up watching Pinky and the Brain to allow me to have the energy to change the world. They'd be like, Pasha, how can you sit up 3 days straight? Because, motherfucker, I'm changing the world. You're just going to work tomorrow. I don't want to hurt your feelings anymore. Because there was a period in time in life when you learn something new, you get something, you're excited, you want to share it with the people you care about because you expect them to care about the truth as much as you do. And like I said, if you bully a child, it's only child abuse. So I had to learn that. And I stopped talking to you. And I had people that go out there and be like, I'll tell them, look, we're done. I stopped talking to you. And they be like, oh, it crushes them. But the way they get over their pain is then they want to tell people that they stopped talking to you or something like that, right? They're gonna keep it real with their circle. Oh, I don't fool with Pasha. Why you don't fool with Pasha? I don't just talk to him no more. No, tell them that Pasha stopped talking to you, and then tell them why. Because then that's how the nation can heal. Because the disease or disorder that Pasha recognized in you, maybe you would appreciate better if other people translate it. But that's what's gonna happen anyway. I learned that I didn't have to be there to enjoy the fruit. I just needed to plant the seed. You may not grasp it today. I'm used to people calling me 5 to 7 years later talking about now they understand. It don't bother me. I did my part. I'm still gonna go wee to the next one that I'm supposed to help install and invest in. So real branding says something specific. Most people want safe, right? When you speak directly to your people, the rest feel left out. Is that the point? I don't know. Do they even want to be included? They want to be included until they see what they got to do to stay involved. It's a dynamic. So true messaging doesn't attract everyone. So you got to start questioning yourselves when everybody's liking your shit. Because it's probably just real and not true. If your truth ain't polarizing, probably just a performance because you're doing it to be liked. So people run because the truth requires change. We know that. We've heard that before. So most aren't running from you, they're running from what they'd have to become to stay beside you. So I distance myself because, yeah, you may not want to be American. Truth says you can't stay where you are and grow into who you're meant to be. Think about that. A plant is in a seed. The seed, in most cases, we're thinking about basic, kindergarten animations of a plant growing. The seed would be in some sort of dirt or soil. So the plant is in the seed. The seed goes into the dirt. The plant can't say it grew and still be in the seed in the dirt. That tree in your backyard was once a seed. It's only in your backyard for you to see because it had to escape the seed. See? You were a seed in a sea man, and the sea man was swimming in a sea, man. Right? You were inside of the waters, separated from the waters. You couldn't stay there and grow into who you are today. You had to come out and see, man. So you can't stay where you are and grow into who you meant to be. I have no apologies for you feeling like I left you behind. I offered you the opportunity to come with me, and you declined. You came by yourself repeatedly, and then I left, and I didn't come, and you were mad because you were like, "Why didn't you come?" And I was like, "Because, I don't need to. I'm omnipresent." So that's why truth is rare. Like the steaks that you hate. And the realest ones often walk alone. You weren't abandoned. You evolved past the least agreement. Emotional echoes. If being true makes people leave, let them go. You were never here to be tolerated. You were here to be transparent. Truth doesn't chase approval. It simply clears the room. And if you're not ready to be alone, you're not ready to be genuine. And that's why I don't do real-ish. I do true shit. I'm not pushing Pasha Paroh is not necessarily a brand, it's a principle. I'm not in this to be liked, I'm here to be clear. Let's make that clear. Truth builds legacies, not trends. Envision creating structures, not performances. For people who are ready to own interest in your own life. You don't even own the interest in your own life. I'm a cultural corrective. The line in the sand has been drawn between performance and purpose in your life. Which path are you going to take? Truth ain't a trend, it's the foundation. Likes will always fade, clarity lasts. Most people want applause, but focus on the alignment. Being liked might get you booked in several different meaning of the word. Being clear builds blueprints. You can't build a legacy on borrowed language. You can't build a kingdom with those still seeking attention from the village. Realish is a mask, and I build structures, not stages. We're not branding for attention. The truth, this is truth architecture for entrepreneurs, artists, and truth seekers ready to own your own power, not just pose with it. I don't create messages for the moment. I build frameworks for forever. A lot of artists, they songs pop, they be hot for 2 months. You put the song in next year, you're gonna be like, this don't even sound good anymore. My song designed to be put in the year 2060 and still hit, and still make sense, and still translate because it's truth. You know, you can offer them support, you can offer them encouragement, you can try to build others up, but if they want to be real, then let them stay real. You don't need a new identity, you need your interest back. You need your interest back. All right, it's bigger than branding or beats. It's not selling slogans. We're exposing systems. And I'm not meaning exposed, like, no, we're just exposing systems. You know, I don't engineer sound, I'm engineering self-awareness, and sound is just a tool. A song is just a tool. But limited minds be like, I remember I said to someone, a business owner, I was like, you can look me up on Google. And what they saw, when you Google Pasha Paroh, you don't really see the business side of it. You see the music side is what Google promotes. I guess it makes them more enriched, right? So people will look me up and they'll see music and they'll wonder, well, when did you start doing this? And I'm like, man, I've been doing this all my life. What you're doing is looking at it backwards. If I'm telling you I'm doing marketing and branding, the reason I didn't argue or contest or want to change what Google's doing, I didn't ask for Google to do that, salute. Google did that on their own. I know a lot of people pay for this and get that set up and do that. Hey, these people, they know who I am in case you don't. And that's the way I always live my life, right? I've been a local celebrity from being a high-level photographer. You know what I mean? I didn't just claim to do photography. I actually did photo shoots and events from DC to New York. I know who I am. And I know that a lot of you don't know. And I don't fault you for that. Okay? So, the self-awareness aspect is what we're building. Hence, I'm branding America to replace or be offered as an option or alternative for your commitment to the United States. What did I say the other day? I was at a meeting with a client. I said, I'm UPAF. I'm unprofessional as fuck. Because professional, when you look it up, is those who took a vow to enter a religious order. I'm not religious. I'm true. You're not gonna box me in. So I'm a U path. U path with me. You know what I mean? If you got this far in the content, let me drop U path in the comments below. UPAF. All right. We're almost done here. We're wrapping up. So whether I'm ghostwriting for someone, mixing, mapping your message and branding, I'm showing you where the lie was living inside your voice, and we're gonna address that. I don't design for the algorithm, although the algorithm is a tool. I design for your actual rhythm. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference there. So they built the culture on real-ish. And I'm asking you today to stand with me to build the correction. It's an invite. What they say, bestie, right? You're invited, you know? I had someone just invite me today, they wedding, some travel distance away. And I said, you know what? I might have to see you before or after because look, I'm gonna have to send you an invoice otherwise. Cause I didn't plan to go traveling. Like you trying to, if it was a work situation, like if I was at work, you trying to have me use vacation days, my PTO. We gotta expense this. We're gonna have to go to the expense account. You know what I mean? 100 grand, you the man. But you know, I'll see you either before or after, or else I'm gonna invoice you for the trip. And it's, you know, when you think about it, you gotta remember, like, Pasha, why you don't be everywhere? Because I'm in a position where I should be charging 5, 10, 15, 20,000 just to show up somewhere. I'm not who you think I am. And a lot of people, they don't get that. You know what I mean? They don't appreciate the fact that if you did just pull up, they don't know the value because they used to the real people pulling up, and they don't know how to actually they don't know the value of truth showing up for them. But I don't blame you for that. I don't fault you for that. I just give you time and space. I'm not performing truth. I am the consequence of it. So look around you today. If all they can handle is realish, and you got that look on your face like Jay-Z had that final photo with Dame Dash that we all, I ain't gonna say the final photo, but that photo that we all seen the memes for, where he was like, this is the day he realized they were done. He was just standing there while they were wilding out, and he was just like, man, I'm done with this shit. I'm tired of this shit. If you feel like that around the people around you, then you might be American, and you might be trapped in the United States. You should you path with us. Welcome to America. Hit me up. You see what I'm saying? Website right there. You got it. You know, you can put me in Google. It's Pasha Paroh on everything. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. It's Pasha Paroh everywhere. I'm not, because I'm true, right? I didn't have to have, you know, when you, it's only one, me. So like, you don't have to be like, oh, it's P.5_16 on Instagram. No, everything's Pasha Paroh everywhere, because there ain't another one. I'm the truth.